Good.
Good. Happy Wednesday.
Yay, too.
Hey. All right. So we are 2 minutes after, and we have four commissioners, a majority, a quorum, if you will. So we can go ahead and get started. And Michael, we're already recording, right?
We are correct.
Awesome. Okay. So with that, I now call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. Welcome to ANC1E's November General Body Meeting. A few administrative notes. Today's meeting is being recorded. Closed caption is available for each user by clicking the button on the toolbar below. Please submit questions through the Q&A function located on the toolbar below as well, and we will be monitoring it throughout the meeting. If you are calling in rather than participating through the web, you may raise your hand by dialing *9. We'll be monitoring, as I mentioned, questions and hands being raised throughout the meeting. Secretary Jacobson could not join us this evening, so I'm going to conduct the roll call. To get that started, I'm actually going to share my screen first because I have the agenda up. And
there. Mr. Gallagher has joined us as well, Chair.
Oh, great.
All
right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Great. We'll give it just another second for Commissioner Gallagher to log in. Hello, Commissioner. Hi. All right.
Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so I'll now conduct the roll call. So Commissioner Gallagher.
Present.
Commissioner Lancaster. Commissioner Ray.
Present.
Commissioner Brown.
Present.
Commissioner Newland.
Present.
Commissioner Jacobson. And Commissioner Footer, that is me, and I am present. All right, with 5 commissioners present, we have a quorum. So another just ANC administrative note, per DC law, the ANC1E meeting was noticed to the community via listserv, social media, website, and e-calendar, which can be located on our website. We will now move to our agenda. I'm going to walk through the agenda, just provide everybody a quick outline of what we'll be discussing today, and then I'll ask for any amendments or approval of the agenda if there are none. So in our consent agenda, we have 4 items, which include approving last month's public meeting minutes, the approval of the fourth quarter FY23 quarterly financial report, approval of the 2023 calendar year annual report for ANC1E, and then we have a letter supporting DIPED's conditional award to HOU for case management and supportive services to Park Morton neighborhood. Then we'll move on to community announcements and presentations, and we have 2 of our regular standing participants, one from the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, and then a representative from Office of Councilmember Brianne Nadeau. Then we'll move to official business, where we've broken it down by the 3 standing committees. Transportation has one letter supporting Howard University's public space application with caveats. Then we move on to Zoning and Economic Development Committee, where we have 2 resolutions, one supporting a zoning adjustment request, and another one as an addendum to a previously approved Form 129. Then we'll go to public safety, and we have a resolution in support of public safety legislation, and then we will be done. Are there any amendments to the agenda? All right, hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda.
Moved.
Great. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Great. Thank you very much. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand. All right. Any opposed? And any abstentions? All right. With 5 votes in favor, 0 votes opposed, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes and the agenda is adopted. All right, now we will go to our consent agenda. So just a reminder, all matters under the consent agenda are considered by the commission to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any commissioner may, however, remove an item from the consent agenda by request. The consent agenda includes, as I already read through them, so I won't do that again. But is there anything that any items in the consent agenda that commissioners would like to take out of here because we would like to discuss it a little bit further or have questions about? All right. Seeing none. I'll now accept a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Chair, I move with unanimous consent that the consent agenda be approved as written.
Thank you. Any dissent? All right. Hearing none, the motion passes and the consent agenda and all matters are approved. All right, moving to community announcements and presentations. Commissioners and members of the public can use this time to make public announcements, distribute information, or alert the community about issues. For members of the public, if you're here to discuss an item listed under official business, please hold your comments until we get to that item on the agenda. We'll start with commissioners, then move to the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, then to the representative from Councilmember Brianna Doe's office, and then members of the public. All speakers will have 3 minutes. For members of the public, please indicate you would like to speak by raising your hand using the button on the toolbar below. If you're calling in rather than participating online, you may raise your hand by dialing *9. I will call on members of the public in the order that your hand is raised when we get to that point. And with that, we will turn to commissioners. Commissioners, any announcements? Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Chair. 2 quick things. I wanted to point out to the community here at the beginning when we have a lot of folks that, as the ANC receives renewals or new alcohol licensure information, we do post that to our website under our BZA, what is the Zoning Economic Development Committee. So if you visit our website, under the Zoning and Economic Development tab, you'll see a table which shows all of the licenses that are coming back up for renewal once we receive the application. So if you then see something on there that you have a question about and want to reach out to your commissioner, you can do so. So I just wanted to point out that so that people understand how we're handling renewals, because we do not automatically put them on the agenda for further discussion if we don't know of any particular issue. We like to keep it as straightforward as possible. If we know someone's doing well in the community, we're not gonna make any issue of it. But if people know of a problem, then this is their opportunity to bring it to us. I also wanted to point out in the matter of BZA cases that we received notice that Howard University was going to extend again the application that they have for a BZA special exception at the former Enterprise Rent-A-Car station location. This was going to be a location used as a catering service, but DDOT has had some issues with the application, and so there's been a lot of back and forth. So they have extended that out again, and we will see if new information comes to light. I know some people from Howard University are on the call tonight, and if they choose to give us an update, then they can do that. Otherwise, the commissioner or others can get that for future dates. But so letting people know that's what's going on in those 2 things. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown.
Thank you, Chair Footer. I'd like to give a bit of an update on some of the work that's been happening on Bruce Monroe Community Park that's located at 3000 Georgia Avenue Northwest. Just wanted to share with residents and a reminder that this is a temporary park that is currently owned and maintenance by the Department of General Services. I am aware of the sanitation issues and public safety issues that are happening at the park, particularly in issues related to substance use at the park as well. So just to update folks, I've been working with the Department of General Services, Department of Parks and Rec, Councilmember Nadeau's office and Moger's office to address some of those issues and help coordinate the agencies that are responsible for addressing certain things at the park. So to give you one, sanitation is maintenance. The responsibility for maintenance is the Department of General Services. They have a contract to ensure that the trash cans are collected, that the grass is cut, litter is removed from all areas, including the playground areas. So I've asked for services to be increased there. And today, we've been seeing no issues with litter, but please report it to 311 if you do. There was a down tree that we found that will be lifted up by DDOT for removal. It will not be replaced, as this is a temporary park, and then they'll look to future design elements for any urban forestry that occurs there. If you're a gardener and you're in need of support or services, you do have a DPR contact that you can contact. So feel free to reach out to me at 1-804 if you need help in the garden area. Councilmember Nadeau gave her update at our last meeting regarding a dedicated service navigator for Georgia Avenue. We'll be working with that person and District Bridges to address some of the substance abuse and other issues at the park, as well as the Naya Market. If you see someone in need of services, please contact 311. Miriam's Kitchen is who the city uses to address the residents who are in need of outreach services. And just lastly, I can't stress enough, please contact 311 or MPD's tip line if you see any illegal activity or any issues with regarding the physical space. It has a long-term plan, New Communities Initiative through the Office of Economic Development and Planning. We hope to work through this ANC as we see the long-term plan moving forward through DC Superior Court. And we'll keep the folks in the community updated through this commission for more information on the actions that happen there regarding the long-term state of this particular site. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other announcements? I have one before we move on to some of our guests. I wanted to take a moment and just talk through and provide some update to the event that happened last night. So Councilmember Nadeau hosted a town hall with MPD Chief Pamela Smith at the Housing Finance Authority. And I will say overall, it went very well. My personal approach or feeling around dealing with crime in this kind of nature is to be as transparent as possible and communicate early and often. And so I'm very appreciative that the council member hosted this and brought the new chief to our neighborhood. The chief outlined her plan for addressing crime in 4 specific areas: prevention, accountability, sustainability, and intervention. Members of the public were notably angry, and rightfully so. In my S&D alone, in the past 4 or 7 days, there have been 4 very violent incidents that have happened. A woman was shot in the face. There was a homicide in my building, and it's unacceptable. And as an ANC, I feel like we have a very limited role in being able to truly impact this, and that's unfortunate. And Councilmember Nadeau has provided as much as she possibly can, opportunities for us to actually be part of conversations when she's having it. I would call upon her to increase that and continue to engage with the ANCs. Because we get a lot of the fear that people are expressing in the community, and it's real. And we need to be communicative with the community about it and addressing it. And so I want to just note one or two things that I'm personally doing. As I mentioned, I feel like it's what part of our job as an ANC, one of our roles, to leverage the community's voice. And what I'm hearing from my community right now is one of the things that we need is more light on 8th Street. I've talked to Howard University about increasing light on their vacant property known as Bond Reco, and we've now gone through about 11 months of waiting, and I'm going to be a lot more forceful with Howard University about making sure that we can get something over there that's temporary and impactful, and I look forward to having those conversations. Additionally, I've been talking to MPD about ways that we can try and address this immediately, and unfortunately, there aren't a lot of great options. But I'm pushing to see what we can do. I'm meeting with our building management company, which is JBG Smith, to talk to them about some of the neglect that they've been doing in our building, which has also been quite unacceptable. And we will hopefully see some things change. Also, I'm talking to DDOT and about lighting. I'm looking out my window right now and I see 2 lamps that are burnt out. And so we have a lot of work to do. I highly encourage people to continue to express themselves, their fears. I've always said, and I truly feel, the ANC is only as powerful as the voices that are behind them. And the more that people speak, the better we are equipped to be able to be your strongest advocate. So please reach out. Please tell us what you're feeling. Tell us what you're thinking, and we will get through this together. And I just wanted to provide some of that update. If people have any questions specifically about some of the things that we heard last night at the town hall, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share some additional information. All right. With that, we will go to our special guests. I do want to just recognize Ms. Curtis. I see that your hand is up, and we will get to community comments in just a moment. So please keep your hand up, and I will call on you first. But before we do that, I turn it over to Portia Foreman with the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. Hi, Portia.
Hi, Brian. Hi,
How are you?
Commissioner. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. I'm excited to be here tonight, so thanks for allowing me to be on the agenda. I have a few updates, not that many, and I kind of tried to prepare something, but I'm not good with sharing the screen, so I'll just read off of what I have here. So the first thing will be about the Act Now legislation that the mayor introduced back in October. The second is just a notice about hypothermia season. The third is about the free COVID kits at the libraries. So for Ward 1, it'll be at Mount Pleasant Library. And then the second one would be to remind our community to register for the Ed Fest. So as it relates to Act Now, Mayor Bowser introduced the Addressing Crime Trends Now Act in October with 2 goals in mind. One, it being that it will adjust laws so that the police and the criminal justice system are better able to address some challenging crime trends. And 2 is that it clarifies and adjusts laws that are making it more difficult to police neighborhoods and keep people safe. So the council held a hearing today where they had public witnesses and members from the government. If anyone wanted to submit a testimony and didn't get the chance to today, you still have until December 13th to submit a written testimony. So if you are in support of the bill and you can't find the link, then you can email me or I'll pop it in the chat. And if you already have the link, then like I said, that date is December 13th. For hypothermia season, as you all know, hypothermia season is among us. If you know anyone that is experiencing homelessness, please be sure to call the shelter hotline. Today, Mayor Bowser and the Office of the State Superintendent Office for Education are encouraging families to register for the Ed Fest, which is DC's annual public school fair that provides DC families an opportunity to meet with the representatives from and learn about DC public schools. So this year it'll be 2 dates. So the first one will be on Saturday, December 2nd. And that location is at DC Armory. And then the second one is on December 9th, which is for 9th and 12th graders at Eastern High School. I also wanted to let ANC1E know that the MOCRs are back out in the community. I'm going to create a link on Calendly, so that'll give you guys the opportunity to request a meeting or walk with your MOCRs to just walk through the community. Rashida, I know that you mentioned about Parkview, well, Bruce Monroe Rec earlier. I've been keeping my eye on there, especially on my sweep days on Tuesdays and Fridays, where I'll just go through the neighborhood, kind of canvass it, put in reports for like DPW, DDOT, DBH, or DOH to go through and just try to clean up a little bit. But the days are Tuesdays and Fridays. Like I said, if any community members are interested in walking the neighborhoods with the MOCRs to just identify things that may be of concern or share any ideas that you may have with the MOCRs to clean up the community, then I'm open to that as well. I'll pop my information in the chat for anyone that don't have my contact information. And if the commissioners have any questions for me, then I'm here to answer any questions, or if any community members, like I said, I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions for Portia?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Portia, for providing those updates. Yes, you, your office has been really helpful in helping me to address some of the issues at the park. I would just really, as you do your sweeps, just take a walk through Bruce Monroe Park. That's across the street from 77 Market. You know, with DGS, you know, maintaining park space is not something that is within their traditional authority in what they do. So I've been having a really hard time trying to get them to address issues on a regular basis, particularly with sanitation. We had to work with DPR to try to get some of the equipment addressed, like the swing sets, the basketball court nets and tennis court nets, things like that, removing the jungle gym that was placed on fire. Like, it just took a lot for DGS to really act. And it took a lot of coordination and work with your office and the council member's office to get that done. So I would just, you know, really pay attention, you know, to the emails that you're on with DGS included. And if you see that they're being silent on issues, I'd love for you to follow up on those for me, because what's happening at the park is a, you know, it's unacceptable. And to get it to the current state that it's at, it's going to need some constant attention.
Got it. I'll keep in contact with you, Rashida, on that. Fun fact, so Bruce Monroe was my elementary school growing up. So that park is kind of near and dear to my heart. So I'll make sure I keep in contact with you on that and just kind of stay on top of DGS when it comes to the emails that you send that I'm copied on. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Portia. Estelle with Councilmember Brianna Doe's office.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Chairman Footer, for having me on the agenda tonight. And thank you for the updates, Portia. And happy birthday and belated birthday to Commissioners Ray and Newland. And for those in the community who don't know me, I'm Estelle McKinney. I am Councilmember Nadeau's new Constituent Services Specialist for ANC's 1E, 1A, and the east side of 1B. So I just wanted to share some recent and upcoming events with you all. So recently, Councilmember Nadeau attended Dr. Ben Vinson III's inauguration as Howard President a few weeks ago with Chairman Brian Footer, and we look forward to continuing collaboration with Howard and working with President Vinson. And as Chairman Footer mentioned, last night, Councilmember Nadeau hosted town hall with MPD Police Chief Pamela Smith. For those who missed it, the replay is accessible on our YouTube page. So please let me know if you need help accessing it. I'll put my info in the chat later. And upcoming events. So Brianne on Your Block, BOYB, is a monthly office hours that provide a unique chance for one-on-one interactions with the council member. And the next BOYB is scheduled for December 18th at Tequila and Mezcal on 14th Street in Columbia Heights, and that will be 6 to 8 p.m. And more info to come on that, and it will be shared with your ANC commissioners. We also have a coffee walk where staff, ANC commissioners, and residents walk with the council member in the neighborhood addressing locations of concern. And the next one will be held in ANC 1E, yay! And so it's tentatively set for December 13th at 8 a.m. However, this is open, I'm open to rescheduling with everyone based on community preferences if January works better for folks. However, I really encourage you all to come to attend either or both of those events. And some updates on public safety. As Portia mentioned, the mayor's new Act Now public safety bill underwent a hearing today. More updates coming soon. And after today, the committee will look at it and just decide if they want to, adjust anything. And after they vote on it, it will come to the full council. As well, this week, Councilmember Nadeau introduced 2 pivotal public safety bills. One bill proposes doubling reward money to $50,000 for aiding in major crime arrest and ensures prosecution, relocation, and assistance for witnesses. The other aims to transfer fire and emergency medical 911 calls from the 911 call center to the fire and emergency medical services staff, given the various issues with response times at the call center. And Friday marks the formal introduction of both these bills. So urgent and collective effort is needed to address these community concerns. So thank you for your attention and engagement, and I'll drop my info in the chat for people to reach out to me if they have any questions or concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Ray.
It's not a question. Thank you, Estelle, for coming tonight, by the way. But since it's come up twice, the act, the Public Safety Act, is on the agenda tonight for later on under our public safety as well. So if people stick around and want to, hear from us on the information that we're planning to send to the council, they can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Estelle? All right. Well, thank you, Estelle, and thank you, Portia, for joining. We will now move to the community.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. We'll now move to the community, and our first comment is from Lydia Curtis. Commissioner Ray, do you have the ability to move her up? I don't see the ability for me to do it. Right. Hi, Lydia. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Hi. Good. How are you?
Fine. So
Good.
I have a quick comment about open streets. I have been in communication with Commissioner Brown, and I promised her that I would show up at the transportation committee meeting in December. So I will do that, but I also wanted to share my comments here. I'll start with a story. I went out on open streets before it started at about 9 o'clock because I was going out of town and I wasn't going to be able to participate in the afternoon, and it was rainy. It was kind of cool that morning and it was rainy. And at about 9:30, a woman rushed up to me. She was crying. She was in a panic because she could not, she had a doctor's appointment. And if she didn't make it, they were gonna close at 10. And if she didn't make it there, she wouldn't have her medicine for the weekend. It was a place that she had to go to pick up medication. So I was talking to her and find out that she knew about open streets. She knew that that Georgia Avenue would be closed, but she did not know that all the cross streets would be closed as well. So, and by the time she would have walked either up to the train down to Florida Avenue or up to New Hampshire Avenue, she would have missed her appointment. So she was crying. She said, "Can you please help me? Can you call me an Uber or something?" And that's what I ended up doing. We walked 2 blocks over to 11th Street and got an Uber there. We also called her doctor, and we had to call 3 times to beg them to wait, because the first time when I called on her behalf, they said, "No, we close at 10. She's got to get here," and everything. So then I called back and I said, "Look, she's in an Uber. Can you please just wait?" So they waited. She got there at 10:15. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I kind of knew it was going to happen. I had been in communication with Mignon Bowie at DDOT, and asked her or him if they would put some signs up that not only said that it was going to happen and that the streets would be closed, but what you could do if you still, despite the fact that the streets are going to be closed, if you still need public transportation, what you would need to do. I also offered, I said, if you drop some flyers on my porch, I will distribute the flyers directly to the neighbors, because although they did a good job of postering the bus shelters, and they did a good job at reaching out to the businesses, they did not reach out to the individuals in their private homes, which is what I was anticipating. And sure enough, what I had anticipated would happen actually happened. I couldn't have planned it any better. She rushed up to me and asked me if I would help her. And so I wanted to share that story because I think that DDOT could do a little bit better with communicating to individual families, individual households, not only about open streets coming, but about what people can do if they have doctor's appointments on that day, or if they have an emergency on that day. What are your options? Because people still get caught up. This woman would have been without her medication. I didn't know her, but I just knew that she needed something. And me saying, well, I called DDOT 2 weeks ago, was not going to help her in that moment. So I helped her, and I want to continue to advocate for more communication, and willing to even be feet on the ground to make that happen. And I will also show up on December 6th, which is the transportation meeting, to talk more about how DDOT can push into the homes, emails or I don't know, phone calls, something. There's some way that individuals can be reached.
Thank you so much for that feedback. I do want to just note that the ANC is not meeting in December, and the committees have the authority to meet in December if they would like, and it looks like right now transportation is not planning to meet in December. So the next meeting for transportation would be January 3rd.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't know that. Okay. All right.
And Commissioner Ray, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. Thank you, Ms. Curtis, for coming to let us know about this. Because one of the 2 reasons I'm bringing it up. One is that there is current legislation before the council to kind of expand the idea of open streets to other commercial corridors or other areas in wards across the city. And I do the one area, and I love open streets. So I'm going to start out with that. But the area that I think is the biggest problem is that it affects bus service. And so the clarification that I wanted to get from you was this person that approached you, she would have normally gotten onto the 70 or the 79. Was that how she was planning to get to her appointment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's something we can maybe be more focused on.
And the H Street buses weren't running either. Okay. So she was coming from closer to the hospital. She wanted to come across and then go down, and she wasn't able to do that because the H Street buses. And see, I've been focused on this for about 4 or 5 months, but even I didn't know that the side streets were going to be cut off. And so there was just information, but just not enough information. And the QR code is not always very helpful.
So thank you. Again, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that story. All right. Next from the community, we have Teresa Edmondson. Hi, Teresa. Or we'll bring you up. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, everybody. I'm trying to get my
Hi.
face on. Hang on. What am I doing here? There I am. Hi, Commissioner.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's everybody doing? Good to see you all.
Good to see
Commissioner,
you as well.
for having me. So I wanted to address a couple of things, give you some updates, and one of them, of course, Commissioner Ray spoke about, which was the Sodexo Enterprise, the BZA 20837. Yes, we did have to file yet another extension, a postponement. RedCam did hire a civil engineering consulting firm to try to draw up, something that DDOT would find acceptable. And logistically, as you all know that have been following this, it was what they suggested was very cost prohibitive and just a lot going on there. And that on top of, so this is one of the reasons why it's still, RedCam is still, it's, thinking about it in senior leadership and what to do with Sodexo Enterprise. But, and also, of course, the new president, the new cabinet, all of our commercial, all of our development and properties and our expansion, the new cabinet has to be onboarded. And so that it has gotten, that is part of that as well. That's all. But I meet with RedCam. I facilitate a meeting every Monday. And every Monday it's on the agenda, Sodexo Enterprise. So I will certainly let them know that it was spoken about and asked about at this meeting. Okay, next Monday. The second thing, Commissioner Footer, is of course the bond reco and the lighting. And I get back to you immediately. I escalated your response to Deputy Director Darrell Cobham, and he's responded that he would, take your recommendations to the team and get back to me. And that's where we stand. And yes, the urgency of public safety. Yeah. No, we don't disagree with you there because we want our students to be safe as well. We want we want everybody to be safe. Right. So yes, we're working on it as in real time.
And one of okay.
Go ahead.
No, please, go ahead.
No, I was gonna. That's actually the only updates that I had. Those two things. I was going to ask. I heard you say that there's no meetings, committee meetings, but RedCam is coming in front of you guys on the 13th.
Yes. So the committees have the jurisdiction to be able to decide when they want to meet. And Commissioner Gallagher, I know you did say that you guys were going to meet in December.
Yeah, I think we have some business on various matters, this and other things. So though the full ANC won't meet in December to take action on BZA cases or zoning cases, Howard is always welcome at the Zoning and Economic Development Committee. So we should meet this month. Yes.
Fantastic. Looking forward to that.
Sorry, next month.
And so any questions, commissioners, or anything in particular?
Yeah, Teresa, the only thing I wanted to just add a little bit of context. The reason that I'm now laser focused on lighting is because when I spoke to MPD after the homicide, one of the first things they said was that the lighting on the street is horrible and it is attracting a lot of nefarious activity. And so I have heard from people that they not only feel unsafe about it, but also, police are saying that it is a contributing factor to crime. And so I now have my marching orders from not only my constituents, but a directive from MPD that it is something that is contributing. So that's why.
Could you tell me who you spoke to at MPD so I can maybe follow up with them as well?
Yeah, Commander Boatler.
Boatler, okay, fine. Fantastic. Yeah, I can use that, it's helpful for me to put that in my emails as well.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. Okay, fantastic. Those are the end. Go ahead.
Commissioner Ray.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was thinking this as you were talking about it, and the way you ended it, I figured I might as well say, all of three of the agencies that you've noticed mentioned have the ability to put light on that street. So I don't want Teresa to feel like Howard University absolutely has the be all end all requirement to put light on the street. DDOT has a requirement to put light on the street. MPD has light towers, they could put light on the street, and Howard University owns the property, they could put light on their property. So we all want light. Let's just find a way to get there. But thank you for
Appreciate
coming.
that. Appreciate that, Michael. Appreciate that. Thank you. Agree. And we talked about that in my email about DDOT.
Yeah.
What's DDOT saying about this? So yeah.
And I've been having extensive conversations with them about it. We're hopefully going to be escalated to one of the top of the list for the updates in the new pilot program that they were, or not pilot, updating the, I forget the name of the program, but the bulbs that
Right.
will increase lumens, and then talking about temporary things as well. But with all the construction that's coming up, the majority of things that they can do are permanent, and they are not at liberty to put new lighting in that takes about a year to execute when we're going to start construction in 2 months.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure are some of the things that RedCam considers as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. Anyone else? Well, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Members of the public, if you are interested in providing an announcement or presentation or comment, please feel free to raise your hand. Last call. All right, seeing none, we will move on to our official business. So official business, the committee chairs will begin by providing a brief update on their committee's activities from November. Then they will walk through each of the items of business and have 5 minutes per item to present. They'll take questions from commissioners and then move to audience members until a motion is proposed. So with that, our first update is from Transportation and Public Space Committee. As I mentioned earlier, Commissioner Jacobson could not join us this evening. The Transportation Public Space Committee did not meet in November, but we do have a resolution, and I will bring it up now. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, great, thank you. So this is in support of Howard University's public space permit for the development that's going to be happening just north of Atlantic Plumbing. So this is in my district, and it is it's known as the East Tower Residential Project. First, let me say we are extremely excited for this to happen. The designs look great. The presenters came in September and walked through a number of different aspects of it, had a really good conversation with them. We highlighted a couple of different things that we wanted to hear back on, see if there was an opportunity to incorporate. And let me just say, if Teresa's still on, the team over there that was part of all of this was phenomenal. They were very clear, they were very responsive, and we really appreciate that. And so we are very happy to provide this letter of support with a couple of caveats that just reflect what we had talked about in the conversation. And all of this we've had conversations with the developers about, but we do want to memorialize it. First is around incorporating bike lanes. As the community knows, ANC1E is a strong supporter of increasing bike lanes, particularly east-west opportunities between Sherman and North Capitol. So just trying to continue to promote that. Incorporating raised crosswalks for pedestrian safety. Ensuring tree boxes will not be equipped with fences. Clarification of stormwater management, flood mitigation, using the bioretention pits, and then ensuring that fixed seating elements along the W side of the property is set back in a way that is pedestrians friendly and just discourages illegal behavior. That is pretty much it. Any questions? No? All right. We'll go to the community. Community members, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. All right. Seeing none, I will now accept a motion to support the resolution supporting Howard University's public space application with caveats, application number 432626.
Mr. Chair, I move that with unanimous consent that the resolution be approved as written.
Thank you very much. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is adopted. Thank you very much. All right, going back to the agenda. All right, we've already said it, but just to say it again, Transportation and Public Space Committee will not be meeting in December. The next meeting will be on January 3rd. All right, moving to Zoning and Economic Development Committee. So I will take this one again. I'm going to be talking a lot tonight. Commissioner Gallagher was unfortunately not able to run the committee meeting in November, so I offered to help out. There was one issue on the agenda, and the committee, actually, let me share the resolution. All right. So the presentation was around a request for variance regarding the property at 2816, 2818 Georgia Avenue. Essentially, it is a 10-unit building that will be erected on the corner. And with that, they're asking for a they're asking for relief of the requirement of having one parking space that would be part of the building. There are a number of factors that were contributing to this. One is the fact that there's no alleyway. And so having a parking space was not really conducive to the space. The second was that it is in line with a lot of the adjacent building, which is of similar size, also does not have any parking. We were very fortunate that a member of the committee was actually an abutting neighbor, and so and an expert in architecture. And so he was asking very probing questions and took an opportunity to provide some feedback on the lobby and some entrances, things of that nature. But at the heart of what they were actually coming to us for was regarding the relief for the one parking spot. And so the committee voted unanimously to support their request for relief in the one parking spot. Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did not attend this meeting, but I did want to point out to members of the public who might be wondering, when an applicant comes for a special exception on parking, the BZA typically will look at whether or not the lot could support the parking that is necessary. If it cannot, that's one hurdle, which it sounds like it could not. And then secondly, they would look at whether or not there are private lots within a reasonable distance from which they would be able to rent a space. I'm assuming that the committee probably heard that there were not any commercially available rental spaces. And then you also addressed a little bit about the lot size, not having an alley. So there's no way to actually get to the lot, even if you could. So given that those factors, then a special exception would be triggered, and the BZA is very likely to grant them the requested relief, and which is why I will support it as well. But I just want to, it's always helpful to the community to understand why these things happen, and I'm giving that background. So thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Gallagher.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering if the discussion and apologies for not being able to attend. And thank you, Chair Footer, for taking up that mantle. Wouldn't the proximity to the busiest bus lines in DC maybe be more relevant than the proximity to the Georgia Avenue Metro station? Just thinking in terms of our justifications here, but.
Sure, absolutely. Should I just add that or put it in place of?
Well, I guess as phrased, it was that we discussed with the applicant.
Definitely
would it-
discuss the bus line as well. I just didn't put that in
Oh,
here.
okay. Defer to the chair's discretion on this one.
Yeah, let's just add it. I think the more the merrier, right?
Sorry, and then is the idea that the parking impacts on Gresham and Gerard would be low? Is that our kind of our determination here? Or is it solely that we considered that there would be a parking impact?
But we considered that there would be a parking impact. It would definitely impact the parking there, but it was hard to determine with 10 units what that truly means. And in alignment with what the zoning regulations are, that they would only need one parking spot. We were kind of thinking, is that, or are they anticipating, or is the kind of general rule that one parking spot would impact the streets, the RPP around Gresham and Gerard? And that was kind of the basis of some of the conversation.
Okay, just thinking in terms of being more specific, maybe we want to say, and the ANC considers the parking impact on the east-west side streets to be minimal, given that it would be only a maximum of one car difference by granting this, or by supporting this exception versus not. Only a suggestion, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll play, if you don't mind, I'll play with that language just a little bit, because I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouths. It was more of, we kind of had the conversation back and forth, and I don't know if there was like a determination. It was more of, will it, won't it?
Sure. Well, I guess wouldn't it be up to this body to, I mean, we could make the determination now.
That's a good point.
As opposed to, so I mean, the committee discussed and informed us, the ANC, and I mean, I would be in favor of, at this time, the ANC is able to make the determination that the impact on parking would be minimal.
What requires indicates.
I know we put you on the spot here, Chair Footer, writing
I know.
in front of the public.
We can judge the language. But that's a very good point. It's better to be clearer with this. All right. Any other edits or questions? All right. Hearing none, I'll now accept a motion to support.
Sorry, just to be clear, you didn't specify that you're opening it to the public. I just want to be clear.
Oh, thank you. You're right. Are there any questions or comments from the public? If so, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you, Commissioner Ray. All right, seeing none. I'll now accept the motion.
I move with unanimous consent that we approve the report. Sorry, look at the right word there. We approve the report as written, as now edited, I should say, as now edited.
Perfect. So or is there any dissent? All right. Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is adopted. Thank you. All right. Now that we have the agenda back up, the next item is with Commissioner Ray.
Thank you. This is a zoning commission case, not a BZA case, that we heard last month, both at the committee and then at the full ANC. We voted in support and sent a very, I'll say it was a very short report that simply said that we had no issues with the application and recommended it being approved. A hearing was held on November the 2nd, and there were 3 members of the public who did not attend any of our meetings, but did attend the zoning commission hearing to bring up some issues that they had. So the commission went ahead and said, well, we're not going to make a determination tonight. We'll hold another decision-making meeting on November the 29th. And so in the meantime, these 3 neighbors can have some additional meetings with the applicant, and the ANC can decide if it wants to weigh in or provide any additional information. So I went ahead and pulled from they had all written a letter. The letters were almost identical between the 3 that identified these 3 key points that they had. In this case, this was a map amendment case where on Morton Street, they are following the new comp plan to increase the density on the 600 block of Morton Street to better match what's being built right now at the Park Morton redevelopment site across the street. So this is just a basic upzoning to allow for the RA3 zone, which allows for taller buildings that are more apartment style as opposed to the townhouses that most of us know from the Parkview area. So the three issues that the neighbors brought up, which the zoning commission can consider, what they do with them, we won't know until they decide. But the 3 issues were the layout of the building to accommodate some trees that are on the property, reducing the height allowance to only 3 stories, and then maintaining a ratio of 1 parking space for every 2 units that exist on the property. Now, I'll just point out for people to understand that 2 and 3 are basically what is there now. Like that would be maintaining the status quo, because that is the zoning requirements for the RA1 zone, which we all currently live in. I say we all because I live on the 700 block of Morton Street, so I'm pretty familiar with this. So the ANC thought through those recommendations and we are providing our feedback. All 3 are with not recommended, and there are reasons that we're not recommending them. The first with the trees. Trees are protected already. There is a law in the books from 2016, the Tree Canopy Protection Amendment Act, which sets out when a tree is a protected tree, when it's a heritage tree, and what can be done. If it's a heritage tree, that means it's very large, it's very old, it cannot be knocked down. There are no caveats to that. If the tree is of a certain size, it's larger than most, but not a heritage tree, then there's a sliding scale of what you'd have to pay in order to remove that tree or move that tree, however you decide to deal with it. So the zoning commission really has no role in this because DDOT already has a law in the books that would take care of that. So this is already mentioned in the DDOT report that they provided to the zoning commission, and so we're recommending, or we're going to be perhaps recommending that they don't need to take any further action on the tree because it will either be protected or it won't, based on the law that's already on the books. The second point on the density, the letters inadvertently, I think they probably just didn't understand, referred to the new zone as being unlimited. That was a word that was used in the letter. The new zone is not unlimited. There's a cap on how high a building can go, and height of new buildings in these kind of zones, in these RA zones, is a interplay between how much height you can get and how much FAR area ratio. I know that's a very floor area ratios. That's not a common thing that people probably understand, but the idea is that the more of the lot you use, the shorter the building. The less of the lot you use, the taller the building. So there's an interplay between, if I make it really wide, then it's going to come down. But if I make it really narrow, then it's going to go up. So there are limits on how high up and then how much density you can use. The new zone is more dense than the current zone, but that was the idea. The comp plan was amended in 2021 to allow for more density. The new buildings being built across the street are of a higher density. And so this kind of brings this building, this lot, into, I don't want to say compliance, the word is consistent with the new comprehensive plan. So we're not recommending that they make any changes to that. Office of Planning also is making that same recommendation. And then finally, on the parking issue, the number of parking spaces that would typically be required, I believe, and I'm using my memory here, is maybe 3-to-1 or 4-to-1, might actually be 4-to-1 in an RA zone. That is something that the zoning commission has gone through many hearings on, kind of setting zone to zone and how that happens. DDOT provided a report at that first hearing where they indicated that adding any surplus, and I quoted it here in the report, if you have an abundance or a surplus of parking spaces, this tends to increase the number of road trips that happens. And so they do not recommend that you have extra parking. And as we just talked about in the last case, we're on a bus line, we're close to the metro stations. That is the purpose of those things. So they are not recommending additional parking, and we're not recommending additional parking. So those are the recommendations as we've lined them out. I'm assuming you will ask me questions. We'll hear from the public, and then we'll decide if this is the recommendation of the ANC. And if it is, then this will go into the record, and the zoning commission will make a final determination sometime next month.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, questions? All right. With no questions from commissioners, we'll turn to the public. Members of the public, if you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. All right. Seeing none. With no questions, commissioners of the public, I'll now accept a motion to support the addendum to ANC1E's Form 129 regarding 650 Morton Street Northwest, case number 23-09.
I could get someone else to say
it. Commissioner Gallagher, Commissioner Brown, can I entice you for a motion?
So motioned.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of supporting the resolution or the addendum to ANC1E's Form 129 regarding 650 Morton Street Northwest, case 23-09, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Commissioner Gallagher, I just want to make sure that my screen was not frozen. I did not see you vote on either three of those opportunities. Did you have a vote preference?
Oh, yes, I vote yes.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. All right, so with 5 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstentions, the addendum passes. All right, thank you very much. Going back to the agenda. Moving along. All right, so Commissioner Gallagher, you want to close us out?
Well, thank you again, Chair Footer, for taking over Zoning and Economic Development Committee related responsibilities. And thank you, Commissioner Ray, for rounding us out on last month's cases, as well as just the education on these issues. Continues to be a wealth of knowledge for our neighborhood. Thank you so much. The next meeting of the Zoning and Economic Development Committee, as previously stated, will be December 13th, even though this body will not be meeting in December. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, that's also at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, December 13th.
Thank you very much. All right, next we move to Public Safety and Engagement Committee and Commissioner Newland.
Thank you, Chair Footer. So the Public Safety and Engagement Committee, we met 2 weeks back. It was Monday the 13th. And we had a robust discussion of the different public safety proposals that have come through from the council and from the mayor. And we came up with, and I want to be clear, this resolution was not voted on during the committee because we had originally discussed doing 3 separate resolutions. So 2 for one each for Councilmember Pinto and then Councilmember White's specific proposals, and then one for the mayor. So 3 different resolutions going on at the same time. And through the course of the meeting, decided that it was more impactful for the ANC to set out what our priorities are and what we care about versus picking and choosing aspects of specific pieces of legislation put forth by others, recognizing that, we're certainly not the experts in this field, but we can, convey the concerns of the community. So that's what we try to do here in putting together this one kind of comprehensive resolution that focuses on all 3 different proposals. So just to kind of talk through this briefly, at the top, to set the context, referencing the increase in crime, specifically violent crime, throughout the city and throughout Ward 1. And then we also talk about just staffing and personnel issues with MPD and law enforcement and some of their concerns, I think, with how the job is kind of being approached in terms of accountability. And then moving down, sorry, if you go a bit further down. Let's see. Yeah, so then we get into, here we go. So the OUC issues with the Office of Unified Communications, which we've talked about at the CNC before, and passed resolutions about this before. So just in terms of the emergency response, and then to round it out, the context in terms of actual prosecution of crimes from the attorney's office, which we have also passed resolutions about. So these are kind of, frequent themes, I think, that come up at the ANC. And then we get into the specific proposals from each of the 2 council members and from the mayor. These are just bullets that cover the top line themes of their proposals and what they're aiming to do. Again, we're not going to get into the specifics of each one, but wanted to focus on this bit at the end. This last section, the bullets, is probably the most important in terms of what we as an ANC really care about and would like to see coming through, whether it's these proposals or others. So the first point is around just making sure that law enforcement have the resources they need to be able to do their jobs, but at the same time recognizing that they're being held accountable for how they do their jobs and we're approaching it. The second point is around just strengthening, improving, reforming the emergency response system, which again, we've talked about in other areas. The third one is to make sure that when people do commit crimes, they're being held accountable for it. So actually prosecuting crimes when they do happen. And there is an important piece around that because one of the reasons that's given for not, I guess, the low rate of prosecutions is the evidence that's coming through, and that's because we don't have a functioning crime lab. So making sure that we do have resources like that. And then the fourth point is just making sure that people understand that it's not just law enforcement. When we're talking about public safety, there are a ton of other resources that the city can provide, which include, but are not limited to, things like mental health support, substance abuse, just different things that are, again, not just law enforcement and prosecution. There are other things that we can help with this situation. And then that ties into the last point as well, just making sure it's a comprehensive approach. We're not just coming at this from one angle, and kind of using all the tools in our toolbox to make sure that we're kind of being creative and proactive about this. So finally, I just wanted to point out that this resolution doesn't specifically support the pieces of legislation or the proposals here. Rather, we support that they were proposed and people are showing action, they're being proactive about it, and that we as an ANC are focused on these different priorities. We appreciate that people are focused on public safety. We would like to see more debate around this. I know we heard earlier that there were hearings today on different things, so expecting to see that to continue. And that probably most importantly, that we make sure that we're upholding everybody's civil liberties when it comes to implementing any of these different proposals. So sorry if that was a bit long-winded, but that is the full resolution. So I will take any questions from commissioners and then questions from the public.
Commissioner Ray.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Newland, for putting all this together. It is a lot. There's, obviously everybody is trying to do what they can to have an impact on public safety. And I'll say to my neighbors, when this bill finally comes out and gets passed, it is probably not going to have an immediate impact on crime in the district. I mean, let's face it, this is going to be a long haul. It's going to take us time to staff. It's going to take us time to get officers in places, to get officers out on the street. We have a new chief. None of this is going to be a quick response. So I think it is important that neighbors maintain their interest and activity around this, to continue showing up to meetings, continue talking about what problems they're seeing and try to get them addressed. That's what's going to ultimately have an impact on what happens. I say this all the time, there's a stool here. MPD plays a role, our social services agencies play a role, and the public plays a role. And all three of those things have to happen in order for public safety to improve. It will not otherwise. And then finally, I agree with Commissioner Newland's assessment that the best way to handle this was to put one together, because ultimately that's exactly what Councilmember Pinto and her staff is going to do. They're going to take bits and pieces of all of these bills. They're going to smash them all together into one comprehensive new piece of legislation, and then it's going to move to the full council, and we'll see what happens. So I would imagine that the mayor isn't going to get everything that she wanted, and neither will anybody else. But some piece of legislation is going to come out of this based on the hearings that we heard today, and so you'll see. So feel free to continue to contact all the council members on what parts of this you think should be there and what parts maybe shouldn't. And because some of them have a lot to do with crime, and I'm not so sure that all of them have a lot to do with crime. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you for doing this, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Ray.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? I just want to echo that. Commissioner Newland, I think this looks really, really good. I enjoyed helping you in doing a lot of the research in here, and it was really informative. And I love the approach of, as I had kind of mentioned earlier on in my announcement, the ANC's role in combating crime is quite limited. And our role really is to just be a very firm and very active advocate voice for the community. And I think you did a really good job in capturing that. And these are a lot of the things that we're hearing from people and what they want people to prioritize, rather than coming up with the solution. We're not the experts, and I don't think it's appropriate for us to try and come up with the solution. So thank you. I think this looks really good.
Thank you, Chair Footer, and yes, thank you for all your leadership and help on this. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, let's turn to members of the community. If you have a question or a comment, please feel free to raise your hand. All right. Commissioner Newland, real quick, just a grammar thing. I noticed that maybe in editing the footnote may have been lost.
Yeah. I saw that. I edited it in the SharePoint document, so it's not, if it's downloaded on your computer, it's not there. But I added the correct reference for that.
Awesome.
Because I saw the highlights sticking out. So thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, that was, I think and I apologize. I did make a number of edits like right before this meeting around here. So I hope that I didn't surprise you too much.
No, thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, if there are no questions from commissioners and no questions from the public, I'll accept a motion to support resolution in support of, actually, before I say that, the Commissioner Newland, I also changed the title because I was just trying to match it to the agenda, not because I was trying to actively change it. This does say that we're supporting public safety legislation. Do you want to, I apologize if I overwrote what you intentionally, we were trying to do before. That was not intentional. So is there a specific way that you want to articulate this, the title of this resolution?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I had before because it was a
I'm so
bit
sorry.
long-winded, but no. It didn't sound very good, but this is a bit misleading, right? Because it's not actually in support of the legislation, but I think it was like in support of
I think you said something around like having robust conversation.
Yeah. In support of like robust conversation and like strengthening public safety or something.
How about the resolution in support of strengthening public safety?
There we go. That's great. Thank you.
The worst speller.
Perfect.
Okay, now with that, I'll accept a motion in support of the resolution in support of strengthening public safety in DC.
Mr. Chair, I move that with unanimous consent, we approve the resolution as edited.
Great. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is adopted. All right, I'm going to go back to the agenda. All right, and Commissioner Newland, if you just want to round us out.
Yeah, just to wrap things up, similar to Transportation Committee, Public Safety Engagement will not be meeting in December, so our next meeting is Monday, January 8th, and look forward to welcoming everybody then. And that's it.
Great.
Thanks.
All right, that is all for our official business. Commissioners, is there anything else that we need to address this evening? Seeing none, having no other business before the commission, I now accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand. Great. All those opposed? Any abstentions? With 5 votes in favor, 0 votes opposed, and 0 votes abstaining, the motion passes and we are adjourned. Before we go, just a quick note that the ANC, again, will not have a general body meeting in December. The next general meeting of ANC 1E is Wednesday, January 24th, and the Committee on the Whole is Tuesday, January 16th. Please visit our website at anc1e.org for announcements and other helpful information about ANC1E. Again, our website is anc1e.org. Please feel free to contact any commissioner with any questions. Thank you very much for a productive meeting and have a great night.